It's the Philippines Tripping Point Special.
Play the theme music. This episode of Tripology. I'm Alun, and I'm here with the ever-patient Adam.
Physically here, still here. It's a wonder that I am here because you've very kindly sorted out the accommodation for us.
Thank you.
A few times in a row we've extended in this lovely apartment, aka the Tripology Studio, aka Tripology HQ.
Lovely apartment, isn't it? It's not as if last week I was physically melting into a little cup on the floor, pooling my own perspirations about my face and hair.
No, I'm not going to say thanks for us sorting out the accommodation, but it's a shithole.
Right, yeah.
But I do like it. I think it's adequate. However, we are in an enormous building in Makati City, which I think is one of 3 towers on the same complex.
The Beacon.
The Beacon. Oh, we're just calling it out live on air.
Well, I mean, the Beacon aren't responsible for this particular Airbnb.
No, I mean, we'll be gone by the time this goes out anyway, so fuck them. And the lift, the elevator system in this building is unlike anything I've ever experienced in my entire life, I think.
The most organised, most efficient lift you've ever used, is it?
No. It's absolutely the longest time I've ever spent waiting for a lift and inside a lift in the same journey.
Right, okay. Well, let's talk a little bit about it because I'm equally frustrated. When you asked me last night, can we extend this accommodation, I was shocked and appalled.
Yeah, the Philippines, famously defined by its slow lifts.
Yeah.
Elevators for our American listeners. I just think it's something that's plagued us. It's something that's eaten an enormous amount into our time together in the Philippines. And even just today, when you said, I'm going to nip down and get a coffee, I'll see you in the cafe. Yeah. I did say, please, just wait a couple of minutes. I'll be ready because I can't bear to be waiting for the lift on my own, not catching that sweet, sweet lift. Because you know, if you miss it, it's like probably a 30-minute swing.
Listeners should and will know that there's a relationship dynamic between me and Adam that in India devolved into basically me making increasing threats to try and get Adam to leave slightly earlier. It went to the point where I would just go, Adam, I'm getting in a tuk-tuk at 10. If you're there, then we'll get in the tuk-tuk together. If not, I'm going at 10.
Yeah.
And then I would get in the tuk-tuk and there'd be this thing where Adam was like panicking in the hostel trying to get out. This lift is so much better a deterrent than the tuk-tuks ever were.
Yeah.
In this scenario, I go, Adam, I'm getting in the lift now. Adam will be ready, quick, smart, because the waiting time for the lift is abysmal.
It is. I mean, even this cafe that we went to, I came back slightly earlier than you did. And I made the point of timing how long it took from the very bottom of the lift to the moment that I pressed the button waiting for the lift in the foyer up until the moment that I exited the lift. On the 38th floor, fair to say we are on the 38th floor, so it would take a little bit of time anyway, even if it was a quick lift.
Yeah.
Guess how long it was, bearing in mind it's just up one shaft in the same building.
You did a scientific experiment, did you?
Well, I timed it, and I've calculated also how far I could drive in a car at 30 miles an hour.
I reckon it took you 8 minutes.
It was 13 minutes, Alan.
13 minutes?
13 minutes.
Unlucky for some.
I was downstairs waiting and there was a couple there. And I was doing this really British passive-aggressive huffing, sort of thinking that they were going to, engage in conversation with someone who was clearly,
just in distress.
Yeah. I said, do you live in this building? They said, yeah. I said, this is maybe the longest I've ever waited for a lift. And they said, yeah, they are slow sometimes. And I was there looking at my phone. I thought, fuck it, I am going to time this. Maybe we'll talk about it on the pod. But 13 minutes total time to wait for the lift, get in the lift, and then it's also really slow once you're in the lift because it's got 38 floors. I don't know how many floors the building's got in its entirety. Do you know?
Oh, yeah, well, we're actually on the 37th floor because in classic Asian fashion, the 13th floor is missing.
Yeah, so it should even be slightly quicker. But it's just absolutely ridiculous. It does, as you said a couple of days ago, it stops you from leaving the apartment.
Yeah, I'm not going to be leaving here today. I think it's basically made me far more productive because I don't really want or care to see much of Manila because I feel ensconced within this lift-based sort of purgatory.
Yeah, I mean, we had some food at around 4 or 5 o'clock yesterday, and at the restaurant you did say, well, we'll just have something small. I'm sure we're going to eat later on. And then by the time we were both in here at about 7, 8 o'clock, there's just no chance I'm ever going back down, because it's a good sort of 2-hour turnaround time just to go to the restaurant, even if you went to the base of the building.
There's going to be some people listening to this who might go, Tripology used to be about hostels and tuk-tuks, and now it's about Airbnbs and lifts. But do you know what? I think there's a funny thing that's happened with hostel culture, hostels in general, where to some extent you're paying now for the experience of being in a hostel.
Yeah.
I think that hostels are the best way to meet people. The
Right.
absolute best thing to do whilst you're traveling as a solo backpacker.
Yeah.
But the reason that's the case is because they're the cheapest accommodation.
Or were.
And a byproduct of that is that everyone's in this community hub, because everyone who wants to travel as cheap as possible is in the hostel.
Yeah.
I mean, it's transpired such that hostels for the two of us are more expensive. It's more expensive for the two of us to buy a hostel dorm than it is for the two of us to get an Airbnb for the night. A hostel dorm might be £15 a night. This Airbnb might be $25 a night and come with a sauna, a swimming pool, a gym. So hostel culture, man, in the Philippines, I think Airbnbs might be the place to go.
Yeah, I think we're seeing it the world over. I mean, do send us an email or get on the contact form on the website if you've got a different opinion or different experience. But certainly moving around New Zealand, sometimes in cities you're paying $50, $60 to stay in an 8-bed dorm, a 10-bed dorm.
Yeah.
I just don't understand how hostels or why hostels are doing it. Maybe they're trying to recoup some money from, the 2-3 years when they weren't making any money.
I think it's because backpacking is getting so popular, and they know that the experience of being in a hostel is an experience that people seek.
So again, it's becoming commodified.
Right, you're commodifying the literal experience of. I mean, let's face it, I adore hostels. I love hostels more than the guy, any other person apart from you maybe in the world. I love them. I absolutely adore them. But they are shit accommodation.
Yeah.
That's just a byproduct that you have to suffer because you want the experience of meeting a load of people.
Yeah,
you
totally.
can't sell me the bad accommodation and the experience. No, they're a byproduct of one another. I'd rather be comfortable and go and do activities. So the hostels have to be cheaper.
Yeah, and I think maybe if there are people listening to this that do work on the pricing structures for hostels, maybe, Hostel World or whatever, you might liaise with some of your big hostel groups.
James in accounting at Hostel World listening to Tripology. Oh, fuck, I ruined it.
This is a plea, because you have to realise, right, there are people who don't stay in hostels already because they don't want other people in their room, or there's a lack of privacy, or maybe the facilities aren't great. I know some people that wouldn't stay in a hostel even if it was free. So the fact that you're then trying to deter people, or are deterring people because of this prohibitive price tag, that it's just a no-brainer. When you look at two accommodation options and you've got, I'm going to be sleeping with potentially 12 people, that's potentially 11.
Saucy.
And it's only $60 a night.
I'm going to be sleeping with potentially 7 to 12 people, so that is a bonus. But it's pricey.
I'm going to offset the action with you're talking like however many other potential snorers, lack of privacy, smelling, whatever. I don't need to go into detail about the negative aspects of a hostel dorm, but if it's also then more expensive than a hotel,
don't be greedy, guts hostels.
Why would anyone do it? We form part of this community to try and keep that alive.
Yeah.
And we always encourage people to stay in hostels for that reason. So now that the price has become so expensive that it is prohibitive, I think there needs to be either another offering or maybe lower the price.
You're going to ruin travel culture if hostels go all greedy. That's for sure.
You heard it here first.
Adam, we went on an excursion because I saved most of my excursions for your arrival when I first arrived in Manila. So we went to get some food, didn't we?
We did.
Because I'd been here a little while, I was in charge of navigation because obviously I had all data set up on my phone. How did you think my navigation skills transpired?
Superb.
What did you think about the bit where I guided us into a one-way sewage system and we walked alongside a sewer and had to climb over a fence to get onto a construction site to escape?
Yeah, I mean, up until that point, it was scenic.
Yeah.
It was really scenic. And I do love going down those little alleyways and nooks and crannies where you end up walking past the windows of just residents, locals, doing their washing and stuff. I mean, I don't know if you saw me doing this because I think you were tending to your wounds, but I did go back and sort of wave to a woman who was doing the washing up.
Did you?
She didn't for 1 second say, what the fuck are you doing walking down this dirty river? But yeah, I mean, you weren't to know in your defence that we were entering, because we walked down that river for quite some time.
Well, in my defence, I was catering to your desire to not be in the sun.
as a newcomer to the Philippines, as an English person with fairly pale skin.
I was guiding us to the restaurant, and you said, "Oh, can we walk out of the sun?" So I went, "Oh, let's walk along this path, which is, covered with foliage."
Yeah, it was tree lined. It was a genuine path, maybe some benches or whatever.
And that the benches became fewer and fewer as the path continued on, and revealed itself to be a sewage system around the back of some houses with a concrete wall at the end. So we had to scale this brick wall to escape through 3 rings of barbed wire I had to get through.
Yeah, you might call it trespassing, so be careful what you say here, because we know what happened last time.
Jumped into the construction site, said sorry for trespassing.
Yeah.
And then we went about our day, and we had a lovely bit of food, didn't we?
Yeah, we did have a fantastic meal. I do always feel a little bit of added pressure now, because obviously I like eating well anyway. I love eating well with you. Filipino food, a lot of people don't think it's that great. So, I do want to unearth some really fantastic dishes that will go toe-to-toe with some of the greatest food you can find in Southeast Asia. So when you say, mate, go on, get online, find us a decent restaurant. Hopefully I came up trumps. You like what we ate?
I thought it was the best food I'd had in the Philippines so far. Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. Well, just for anyone listening, the restaurant is called Alun Sossings, and it is your typical, on the corner of a busy street, sort of Anthony Bourdain-esque. Been doing the same thing over and over again since, I think, 1954, if I remember the sign correctly. But it is local, small chairs by the side of the road. You go along, you sort of got Barn Marie or whatever. You got multiple different dishes you can choose from. What was your pick of the bunch? Because we had a pretty decent soup that I can go into a little bit of detail about.
That was my pick of the bunch, yeah. It was wonderful. I expected it to be the kind of beef soup where you're like, there's grizzle in there and you have to take bits out and put it in the bowl, and at the end there's sort of a bag of bones left over. It was actually, melting your mouth.
Because it was liquid. No, it's so the soup was more like a consommé, like a clear soup. And beautiful kind of bony, salty sort of umami flavour, wasn't it? Sort of separating. You see the oil from the meat and the tendons or whatever else were in there. But it was a little bit collagen-esque. Gelatinous, collagenic,
yeah.
And yeah, it was just super fresh. Couple of vegetables in there, that was delicious. We also had tilapia, which was, you think, underwhelming.
Bit boring.
Yeah, a bit boring. Nothing on it. Bit of calamansi, just squeeze that on there. That was delicious. And then what else? Lechon. We had of course, which we're going to eat lots more of.
We'll probably do a feature on lechon. I can see that making a feature later on in this Filipino series.
Some tasty pork bits.
I want to draw attention to the moment where, when we were sat eating our food, a mango fell from a great height onto the parasol above us.
And that was because there was a huge gust of wind with a inevitable thunderstorm that was coming. And the parasol almost flew out the middle of the table at one point. And I sort of grabbed it as if I knew what was going to happen. And then at that point, a mango came from the tree above and almost hit you on the head while you were working your way through that tilapia.
Yeah, I was excited by the prospect of the mango falling, and they brought us a knife to cut it up and have it for dessert, free of charge. But I was excited by the prospect of the mango falling because I know something about Filipino culture that you don't.
Okay.
And the mango made me think of it and wonder and sort of ponder it and think, wow, maybe that is that thing that happened to me whilst the mango fell.
Right, and what is it about Filipino culture that you know and I don't know?
Do you know about Encantos?
No, it sounds Spanish.
Well, it is Spanish. It's from Spanish influence. I'm going to tell you about it after a brief meditation break.
If you love the podcast as much as we love you, please could you take the time to rate the show on your favourite podcasting platform?
Yeah, go and give it 5 stars. Everyone else has. We're just waiting on you.
Thanks for supporting us. It means the world to us.
Like an Encantos dropping a mango onto an Englishman's head from a great height as a sort of cheeky trick, let your conscious mind return into your brain. Tabi tabi po, makikiram po, Adam. That's what you've got to say if you want to ward away an Encantos. It means I'm coming through, baby. I mean no harm. Don't touch me, because Encantos are the sort of spirits of the Filipino world.
Okay. Well, how did you first learn about these, and how does that sort of talk about how the mango fits into the whole thing?
Said to me, "Oh, you're going to the Philippines. You got to be wary of those Encantos.
Right.
named by the Spanish who came to the Philippines to do some colonialist activity and were baffled by the sheer number of little mythological creatures, fairies, spirits, elves that were present in Filipino mythology.
Okay.
They went, oh, these are the enchanted, the Encantos. And the idea is snowballed from there.
Okay, fair enough. So you think that you were, saved by one of those?
Well, Encantos, what they do, if they like the vibe that you're putting out there,
Right.
if you're going tabi tabi po, maki irampo, then
that's why you said that just before the man. Oh, right, I
Yeah,
understand. What a
exactly.
coincidence.
Exactly. if the Encantos decide, we like what this guy's doing,
Yeah.
we like Tripology, we'll support the Patreon over at patreon.com/Tripology Podcast, where we've had a very suspicious increase in subscribers. If they decide they like your vibe, they'll bestow upon you great acts of luck.
Okay, well, hang on then. So do you think that the lucky part was that the mango didn't hit you on the head? Or do you think it was one of these spirits delivering a free mango to you as sort of a welcome gift?
That's what I fundamentally believe deep in my heart, is that Encantos saw us having that dinner and said, have dessert.
Yeah, did they ask us if we wanted dessert and we said no?
No, because you don't ignore a gift from an Encantos like that.
It was a sign from above, quite literally.
The mango fell. It was a beautiful gift. I, for one, really, really enjoyed it. And I think thank you to the Encantos. Some of the things Encantos can do, right, that you might like.
Okay.
They can also, if they don't like you,
Yeah.
if they think, oh, you prick, coming over here to the Philippines and not saying our chant, then they'll give you boils.
Okay. Watch out for those.
They'll make you feel all sick and ill.
So
They'll give you, you'll have a lot of bad luck, basically, at the hands of the Encantos. If you don't show them respect, what's really important is that you respect
yeah.
the Encantos. You deal with them on a level and you treat them like they're very to do with nature. They're very integrated with Filipino nature.
Yeah. Okay.
So just show them some respect.
Do you think that we appreciated the gift from above in a way that they would approve of?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did really enjoy that. It was fantastic. And I mean, the guy at the restaurant was almost ready with a knife the moment that it fell.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, perhaps he knows something we don't know.
Something else the Encantos can do is mate with humans.
Can they now?
Yeah.
How do you know how to tell if you're having sexual intercourse with an Encantos? Or is that plural?
You know if you're having it. No, respect to the Encantos. No, if someone's very, very good looking or unusual looking or maybe albino or something like that, people might think, oh, hold on a second. Has
Really?
Encantos been at play there?
Oh my goodness. Well, now I'm going to be sort of dialed in and highly receptive when we're walking around Manila.
If you see a good looking Filipino, you think, what's been going on?
Of which there are many.
Yeah.
So, okay, prevalent in society. That's amazing.
Do you know the phrase? If you're going through an area where you think an Encantos might be,
okay,
what are you going to say?
Well, because of the way I butchered the longest place name in the world, I am a little bit nervous, of course. But
go tabi tabi po.
Tabi tabi po.
Makikirampo.
Makikirampo.
Keep those Encantos at bay. And speaking of Encantos, speaking of the enchanted, speaking of the beautiful, the wonderful, and the respectful, you told me that you have something that you want to do.
It's the Philippine special tripping point.
Let's go.
Tripping point. Alan, it's that time again. It's a Philippines special tripping point. How do you feel? I mean, you sound incredibly knowledgeable on the Philippines.
I know about the Philippines, mate, and what keen-eyed listeners who are watching on YouTube or on Spotify will know is I'm fixed with my gaze on the camera. The reason for that is this is one of the first times we're doing tripping point physical, where you're here and the questions and answers are sort of over to my right facing Adam because he needs to read the questions because he can't remember them off the top of his head. So I'm going to be looking very, very carefully so that no one can accuse me of cheating.
And we've already mentioned briefly, you are going to be in the Philippines for a while. So it makes sense just to raise the stakes and make it more difficult for you that I do this at the beginning of your time in the Philippines as opposed to at the end of your time in the Philippines. Because I'm sure you'll get 100%.
Right, because I'll be too knowledgeable by the end of my time in the Philippines.
Of course. I mean, the questions could maybe be 50, but we're going to do 5.
Okay.
We're going to do 5 questions. And as we know in tripping point fashion, there's always something on the line.
Yeah, if I get all 5, an Encantos will drop a rock on your head.
Well, are you sure you still want to answer all 5 correctly? If that's the comeuppance?
That's what I get if I do all 5.
Okay. Well, why don't... This is kind of a foodie thing. Controversial. There is something, a foodstuff in the Philippines, incredibly popular called balut.
Okay.
And I didn't eat that the last time I came to the Philippines, and it's been one of my food regrets for a very long time. For anyone who doesn't know, it's kind of like a semi-fertilized duck embryo.
Yeah.
And an egg, and it's...
they halfway through the gestation of the fertilized egg, they boil it alive and you eat it.
Yeah, so I mean, look, we're well aware it doesn't sound appetizing, but I've been told by Filipino people it's delicious, a few of which were Encantos, so it must be pretty it must be pretty good.
Okay.
Why don't we say, if you do, what do you feel comfortable with, 3 out of 10? 3 out of 5, beg your pardon?
Yeah, 3 out of 5.
Then I eat it.
Okay.
If you get less than that, you eat it.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
And we'll do a little bit on Instagram and all that sort of stuff, so head over there and you can see one of us eating something that I actually want to eat and that maybe you don't want to eat.
Okay, well, Encantos, give me strength. Let's go.
Okay, here we go. Question number 1. The Philippines is one of the largest archipelagos globally, but how many islands make up the Philippines? So this is, you get the points if you get the number closest to the multiple choice options you have available to you.
Okay.
A is 2,500 islands. B is 4,500 islands. C is 7,500 islands. And D is 10,500 islands.
10,000 seems really extreme. 10,000. Are we talking at high tide or low tide? It does make a difference.
Whichever tide it was when it was calculated, and I'm afraid I don't have that information available to me. Let's say medium tide.
An Anthony Bourdain cooking show.
Yeah.
In which Anthony Bourdain cooks, where he goes to the Philippines.
Right.
And the guy that he's talking to says, we have X amount of islands at low tide.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But I don't remember what the number was.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
Have you got an intuition?
I'm going to go with the 7,000 one. I think it's a colossal number of islands.
7,500 final answer?
Yeah.
You're right. It is 7,500. And I've got a little fun fact for you. I've put more work into this week's Tripping Point than almost any other, actually.
It's almost as if someone close in your personal life is demanding more and more work goes into Tripology ever constantly.
There are 7,641 islands in the Philippines. Maybe I'll have to put in the description, specify it is at low tide. Surprisingly, more than 5,000 of these islands remain unnamed on most international maps.
Wow.
They are literally waiting to be discovered. That's a little nod to your Antarctica episode.
Love it.
So there you go. That's one in the bag, mate.
Thank you so much. Looking good.
Number 2. The Philippines is known as the world's largest exporter of what?
Encantos.
It's another, and they're just getting rid of them, are they? Selling them to everyone else. So there's another multiple choice, mate. I know you like them. A, nurses. B, rice.
Yeah.
C, semiconductors. Or D, chicken joy and jolly spaghetti.
Right, okay, so Chicken Joy, for people that don't know, is there's a restaurant chain here called Jolly Bee.
Yeah.
I don't think that you can count that, because if a Jolly Bee franchise opens up overseas, that Filipino franchise, it's not that the Philippines is exporting it. It's just that the franchise has opened up there.
And it's a Filipino franchise, so even maybe by default it will be the world's largest, because it's a Filipino franchise. So if you haven't had Jollibee, guys, don't worry, it's not worth it.
Yeah. Semiconductors, I don't know anything about.
But they have featured on a Tripping Point before, haven't they?
They have, but it wasn't from the Philippines.
It wasn't. It was Taiwan, so maybe you can use that as a guide.
I'm going to go nurses, Adam, because I know that the Philippines, they send a lot of people overseas to work, so I'm going to say nurses.
They're very good at being nurses. It's correct. Oh, my goodness.
Look at me fly. Look at me go.
Here we go. I've got another little tidbit for you.
Okay.
Over 25% of all nurses in the United States are of Filipino descent.
Wow.
That's a high number, isn't it?
It's so high, it can only be true.
Number 3. Here we go. You're on a roll. I can almost taste the balut now. The world's largest and most expensive what was found in the Philippines?
Encantos.
Is that your final answer? Because you haven't got multiple choice, mate. So we're gonna have to
Oh.
we're gonna have to talk this one through.
Largest and most expensive what was found in the Philippines, and I
Yeah.
haven't got multiple choice. That's wild.
So I'm happy to discuss this because I think it could be quite an interesting conversation. I want to hear your methodology.
Okay. It's going to be like a gemstone of some kind?
Fucking hell.
Can I just
No.
say gemstone?
Well, I mean, that's
Diamond.
I think we're getting bloody close right off the bat.
Okay.
Can we try and get a little bit closer? Because I am absolutely amazed.
I don't think it is a diamond, so I'm going to maybe I'm thinking of like ruby, sapphire. Can you give me the colour of the gemstone?
I can give you, I have written a clue because I knew this would happen.
Right.
And I think you might nail it once you hear the clue.
Yeah, go.
Think jewellery and pirate ships.
What, largest piece of gold? Largest bit of gold bullion?
Kind of, but with the Philippines, with islands, what do people do around islands? What do backpackers like to do when there's nice clear water, all this kind of stuff?
Surf?
Yeah, maybe scuba diving, things like this. Something you might find.
Oh, it's a pearl.
It's a pearl.
I don't think you can give me that.
Do you not?
No, thank you. I'll not take the point. But
Okay.
pearl's interesting. The largest and most expensive pearl was found in the Philippines.
It was, and it's absolutely enormous, mate. I mean, of course, I've seen pictures of this thing. It is gigantic. It was found in Palawan, which is somewhere I think you should go. Somewhere I've been. It's absolutely lovely. It weighs a staggering 27 kilos.
Did it belong to a particularly large oyster?
I don't.
Clam. Is it an oyster or a clam?
I think it was found in a clam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
And it was a fisherman way back when. He hid it under his bed for a number of years.
Must have been uncomfortable.
And
So he had terrible back issues. His spine was a horrible shape.
I mean, you wouldn't let it out your sight, would you? Pearl like that, big pearl necklace. Poor guy can't do anything else.
Well, I appreciate that's an amazing
He
fact.
died of starvation. It was valued fairly recently.
Mm.
How much would you put on it if you had to say a figure? It's a nice, round, fucking gigantic number. If that gives you any.
Is it more than 4 million?
Quite a lot more.
40 million.
Quite a lot more.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a nice, big, fat, round $100 million for this
Amazing.
pearl. For the biggest, because it's not just an enormous gemstone, it's also the biggest in the world. So I'm sure that adds a little bit as well.
Yeah.
Do you know what I
That's
mean?
amazing. 100 million.
Yeah, and you might be interested to know, I saw a picture of it yesterday. It's currently displayed inside someone's house who inherited it, and it is almost encased by a golden octopus. It looks really, really cool. Check it out, guys.
How much did the golden octopus cost?
Less, I think. But it was designed by a famous designer.
How many questions has that been, Adam?
That's been 3 questions. You're doing really well.
I got 2 right.
You did. So here we go. Number 4. The Philippines boasts the world's largest underground what? Now, you'll be pleased to know it's multiple choice.
Cockfighting ring.
Yeah, just cock ring. Yeah, it's A, waste management system.
Yeah.
B, shopping mall. They love to shop. C, colonial burial ground. Ooh. Or D, river. What are we thinking?
It's definitely not the largest river.
Underground river.
Underground river. Oh, I forgot the underground bit.
Yeah. Largest underground river.
Yeah, I'm going to go with that.
Just in there.
Yeah.
I'll be short for time.
Yeah. I'm going to go with underground river.
It is right, mate. Located in Puerto Princesa, Subterranean River National Park, Palawan, and stretching an enormous 8.2 kilometres.
Lovely.
That's it.
That is fantastic.
It's interesting. When I was in Palawan, I didn't go there. It's quite near to the airport, actually. You can go there on the way to El Nido or wherever else you're going to go. And you can kind of view it by getting in a little boat or whatever and going down the river. And it's really cool.
Okay, that's 3 out of 4 so far.
So, I mean, that's it then.
You're eating a balloon.
I'm eating the balloon. I'll take a...
What a shame. It's not as if you've been on and on about how much you wanted to eat it.
Don't tell the fans that. Right, you ready for the last question?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Here we go. This is a good one. So you are a massive mixed martial arts MMA fan. You love UFC. You watch your boxing. You know what you're talking about when it comes to that sort of stuff. So much so that I love watching that with you.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you're going to get this one right. Have you ever heard of Manny Pacquiao?
Yes.
Yeah, very famous Filipino boxer.
And politician.
Interesting.
Is that the question? Had a career as...
During Manny Pacquiao's boxing matches,
Yeah.
something in Manila drops to 0. What is it? Here we go.
Yeah.
A, karaoke singing. B, crime rates. C, air quality index. Or D, the temperature.
Okay, temperature, obviously not. Air quality index.
Well, he's a pretty cool guy.
Yeah, air quality index would take longer than a boxing match. So it's either crime or what was the other one?
Karaoke singing.
Karaoke singing. Or karaoke singing possibly, because maybe all the bars are showing Manny Pacquiao fights. Crime, I mean, someone's surely doing some crime somewhere. It's either crime or karaoke. It's a toss-up between the two.
Well, I mean, also, at this point, you really don't... It doesn't matter which one you get.
It's difficult to predict. I reckon someone once had a pop at a crime when there was a Manny Pacquiao fight, whereas I reckon all karaoke bars, they're showing the Pacquiao fight as a matter of course. I'm going to say there's no karaoke singing during a Pacquiao fight.
It's crime rates.
I mean, surely not.
Well, it would be documented crime, wouldn't it? It would be sort of anything that's going in administratively through the system.
Stops during a Pacquiao fight.
Yeah, so maybe there is someone somewhere doing some crime, committing some crime, however people phrase it, that do crime.
Part of my answer there is because, I don't know that this is true, but something rings a bell about Pacquiao himself being quite into karaoke.
Really?
So I thought as a matter of honour, maybe all the karaoke bars are like, we're going to show the fight.
Yeah, I mean, I know it can be said about Japanese people, but maybe Filipino people as well. They do just have great voices, many of them. So, maybe we should get involved in a bit of karaoke tonight, mate.
Me, you, and an Encantos. Encantos. I don't know why I called it an Encantos. That Encantos is a place.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure they heard that, and if we don't get any mangoes today, we'll know why.
Yeah, it's because you lost the game and you're going to eat a balut as a result. Go to instagram.com/Tripology Podcast to see that.
Yeah, and we're going to go over to the Lost and Found section where we're going to talk about what we're going to do later. I'm really excited about that. Patreon.com/Tripology Podcast.
Yeah, we'll see you there, man. It comes out 24 hours early. We have a Lost and Found section. It's really good. It's just general chat. We're going to carry on exploring the Philippines and having all sorts of adventures over here. We've got some very, very exciting news coming up in the next few weeks. So, I mean, tell your friends and go crazy because it's about to get really wild up in this podcast shit.
Yeah, if we haven't contacted you yet, we might be doing that very soon. Stay tuned, guys. We'll see you there.
Bye.